Days of Our Lives. As Holly Jonas becomes a target, Doug's terrifying realization could change everything in the intricate and often perilous world of Days of Our Lives, where love and loyalty are frequently tested by secrets, scandals, and shadows from the past. A new and terrifying storyline is unfolding. It revolves around the potential kidnapping of young Holly Jonas and the emotional spiral that Doug Williams III may find himself in as events rapidly spin out of control. As the walls begin to close in, one heart-wrenching moment might change the course of multiple lives in Salem, and those haunting 4 words from Doug may echo longer than anyone can imagine. It's all my fault. Let's rewind. Earlier this year, viewers saw the seeds of this troubling plot sown quietly but deliberately. Doug Williams III, played by Peyton Meyer, a character with a complicated past and even murkier present, found himself the target of dangerous men seeking money. These weren't petty criminals, these were men capable of ruthless violence and manipulation. While Doug was desperately trying to shield his world from their reach, one sharp-tongued, courageous teenager stood up to the threat: Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis. At the time, her defiance seemed almost casual, a reckless remark made in frustration. But as any longtime Days fan knows, even the smallest gesture can ripple into disaster. Holly had no idea that her words had placed her in a crosshairs she couldn't see and wouldn't understand until it was far too late. Fast forward to the present, those same criminals are back. And this time, their hunger for money has only grown more dangerous. Doug, already deeply entangled in their game, finds himself in a desperate position. He's trying to cut ties, to protect those he loves, and above all, to protect Holly, who has formed a sweet, heartfelt bond with him over recent weeks. Their connection, filled with warmth and moments of vulnerability, made Doug feel like he had something pure in his life. And for Holly, Doug offered a kind of steadiness she's longed for in a world that's felt increasingly chaotic. But now that bond may have placed her in grave danger. In the May 6th episode, viewers watched as Holly and Doug shared a quiet, heartfelt moment together. It was a tender exchange, one filled with hope as Doug told her about his new job at Brady's and the simple room he's renting above the bar. It was an attempt at a fresh start, a way to disappear from the orbit of danger he's been circling. Unfortunately, the darkness was already watching. Unbeknownst to them, someone was lurking nearby. A camera lens caught that moment, not for sentiment, but for surveillance. A stranger, hidden in the shadows, snapped photos of Holly and Doug together. Not just innocent bystander photos, but calculated, up-close shots. Surveillance. Confirmation. The criminals were back, and they now had a plan more sinister than before. You see, while Doug believed that moving out of the lavish mansion he had been staying in would protect Holly, it may have come too late. The criminals, once focused on Doug's debts and the promise of money, now had eyes on something, or someone, even more profitable. And in their world, people aren't just bystanders, they're leverage. And who better to target than someone close to a wealthy widow? Maggie Kyriaki's Suzanne Rogers, recently seen placing a stunning $1 million bid on a bachelorette, has clearly demonstrated her financial power. Her generosity and status as one of Salem's most influential figures make her an ideal mark, not directly but through someone close to her. Enter Holly Jonas, Maggie's niece. A bright, beautiful, and beloved young woman, the perfect pawn in a ruthless scheme. The kidnappers may now be shifting focus. No longer satisfied with threatening Doug or lurking around his old mansion, they are poised to make a move. They've done their reconnaissance. They've identified Holly. And they know exactly how much she's worth to Salem's elite. They aren't just looking for a ransom, they're sending a message: no one is safe, not even the innocent. Doug, though unaware of the full extent of their plan, begins to feel the dread creeping in. And when Holly goes missing, perhaps snatched from school, or from a walk she takes alone, or even from right under someone's nose, he will know in the depths of his soul that this is on him. And that's when the words will come, hollow and anguished. It's all my fault. Imagine the moment. Maggie receives a mysterious note. No sender. No mercy. Just a demand. And maybe a piece of Holly's jewelry to confirm the truth. Panic grips the Kyriakis' estate. Tate Black, Leo Howard, a close friend and romantic interest of Holly's, is thrown into a storm of guilt, rage, and helplessness. Salem turns upside down. And Doug? He breaks. The weight of guilt crashes down. He might recall every moment he dismissed a threat, every time he thought he could handle things on his own, every word Holly said in confidence. And worst of all, he may realize that by letting her into his life, by getting close, he made her a target. His panic might drive him to take matters into his own hands, to hunt down the men who took her, or even sacrifice himself to bring her back. There's even talk that Philip Kyriakis, Jean-Paul Lavoisier, another resident of Salem with a long and messy past, may get caught in the chaos. Rumors swirl that Philip will soon be hospitalized after a violent encounter, possibly an attempt to intercept the kidnapping or rescue Holly mid-crime. Whether he succeeds or fails, the stakes are higher than they've been in a long time. What's most disturbing is how easily this plan slipped beneath the radar. The criminals knew what they were doing. They didn't just go after money, they went after hearts. They understood that Holly wasn't just another teenager. She was family. She was loved. And her absence would hit Salem like a thunderclap. As this story develops, longtime Days of Our Lives viewers should brace for the emotional impact. Doug's guilt, Maggie's desperation, Tate's fury, and Philip's potential sacrifice. All these elements are building toward one of the most explosive arcs the show has seen in months. Salem is a town of secrets, but when someone innocent like Holly is dragged into a web of lies and danger, those secrets come crashing down hard. Stay tuned, because the worst may not be over. And as Holly's fate hangs in the balance, one thing is certain: Days of Our Lives is about to remind everyone that sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones that hit closest to home. Would you like a thumbnail image or caption to go along with this story for video or social media? Days of Our Lives recap, Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Stephanie's anger boils over, Philip's apology shocks, and a race against sepsis begins in the latest emotionally charged episode of Days of Our Lives. Viewers were taken on a roller coaster of deep regrets, strained relationships, and a new medical discovery that could change everything. While the town of Salem continues to reel from past betrayals and haunting illnesses, today's episode unearthed long-buried pain, lingering resentment, and a glimmer of hope in the face of tragedy. Let's dive deep into what happened and what it really means for some of our most beloved and broken characters. Stephanie versus Philip, a confrontation years in the making. When Stephanie Johnson ran into Philip Kyriakis today, it wasn't a polite, nostalgic reunion. It wasn't friendly, and it certainly wasn't short of fireworks. Stephanie, still brimming with anger over past betrayals and the manipulation of her family, didn't waste a second before unleashing a storm of pointed questions and raw accusations. Her pain was palpable. "Was it all worth it?" she demanded. Her voice trembled, not just with fury, but with the weight of so many years of unspoken resentment. She was referring, of course, to the long-standing feud that had torn through families and relationships like a wrecking ball. A feud that had left Bo Brady's legacy in tatters and fractured the lives of everyone connected to him. Philip, haunted and weathered, stood his ground, but not without remorse. He tried to explain himself, not with excuses, but with the truth. He hadn't wanted things to end this way. In a moment of quiet despair, he admitted that he had hoped Bo's death might finally bring peace between the warring families. But it hadn't. If anything, it had only added more fuel to the fire. The bitterness in Stephanie's tone as she scolded him again was laced with something deeper than anger. It was grief. And when she turned to walk away, tired of fighting, Philip did something unexpected. He apologized. It wasn't just a quick, "I'm sorry." It was the kind of apology that comes from someone broken. Someone who has finally looked in the mirror and seen the damage he's caused. He apologized with disgust for everything. Stephanie froze. She wasn't ready to forgive. Not yet. But she listened. Philip didn't try to deny what he had done. He didn't try to sugarcoat it. He made it clear he wasn't trying to cheat Xander Cook out of anything. He had only wanted to repair his relationship with his father, Victor Kyriakis. That desire had driven him to make desperate decisions, some of which had hurt people he cared about. People like Stephanie. He said he didn't regret what he did, only how it hurt the people around him. Stephanie, still visibly shaken, gave a surprising response. "I'm still upset with you," she said. "But maybe we can be friends again, someday." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a crack in the wall between them. Sepsis threat looms over Salem. A new drug, a new hope. Meanwhile, on the medical front, Salem is holding its breath. Bo Brady's tragic bout with sepsis has shaken the town to its core. The infection that has left one of Salem's most legendary figures teetering between life and death is no longer just a personal crisis, it's become a rallying cry. Alex Kyriakis walked into Xander Cook's office today with news that could redefine the future of medicine in Salem. He had been digging through Demera Pharmaceuticals research and came across something extraordinary. A new drug to treat sepsis. A breakthrough that, if successful, could save lives, not just Bo's but countless others. And yet, this wasn't a feel-good moment without tension. Demera's drug, Alex noted, was still leagues behind the compound being developed by the hospital's research team. It was a race and every hour mattered. Still, Xander couldn't hide his excitement. This was more than a business opportunity, it was a chance to be a part of something greater. Alex, usually a wild card, looked sincere when he promised that Xander wouldn't regret giving him this second chance. As they shook hands, there was a sense that for once, their partnership might bring healing instead of harm. A son's fight, a father's shadow, the emotional weight of the day didn't stop there. Elsewhere, Elia mentioned that Belle Black had spotted her estranged husband, Shawn Brady, sitting alone in a bar, drinking, lost in thought, likely consumed by guilt and despair. Shawn's father, Bo, was dying, and Shawn had been spiraling ever since. When Elia found him, he was quieter than usual, the fire in his eyes dimmer, but not gone. When she said Bo wouldn't give up without a fight, Shawn's response was quick and fierce. "No, he won't," he agreed, "and neither will I." That brief exchange spoke volumes. These two sons, Shawn and Philip, had both grown up in the shadows of titanic father figures. And now, in their own ways, they were both struggling to prove themselves worthy, to protect the people they loved, and to correct the mistakes they had made. Shawn and Elia then had a quiet conversation about how strange and sad it was that two men, Bo Brady and Victor Kyriakis, had spent their lives clashing, and now, as they fought for survival, they still weren't there to help each other. It was a rare moment of reflection in a town that rarely stops moving. Final thoughts, what comes next? Today's episode of Days of Our Lives was a masterclass in emotional storytelling. It wasn't just about big confrontations or shocking reveals, it was about the small, human moments that connect us all. The regrets we carry. The apologies we never think we'll give. The chance to forgive, not because someone deserves it, but because we deserve peace. Stephanie and Philip's conversation reminded us that sometimes healing starts not with answers, but with honesty. The sepsis storyline, meanwhile, has the potential to unite Salem in a common cause, and to remind us that even in the darkest moments, there's always a chance for hope. And in the background, the ghost of Bo Brady looms large. He may be fighting for his life, but his presence is felt in every corner of the town. Through Shawn's pain, through Stephanie's grief, through Philip's regret, and through every whispered promise that Salem's sons and daughters will keep fighting for love, for family, and for redemption. Stay tuned, because if today's episode is any indication, the road ahead will be filled with more twists, more tears, and more moments that will leave us holding our breath and reaching for the tissues. Would you like a social media caption and thumbnail to match this recap?